Hello and welcome back to the Maverick Life edition of the ROI podcast today. We are going to talk about living overseas, how you're going to do it, why you might consider doing it, and all those steps that will enable you to do so. My guest today is a return guest, Gaby Vivas from Global Spanish and Portuguese. Now, guys, you might not know, not only will Gaby take you step by step through learning another language, but she will also help you step by step in terms of obtaining a second residency, which, given the situation globally at the moment, is becoming more and more popular. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Gaby's going to give you the entire breakdown. And if you want to get in touch with her, we are going to leave a link in the bottom of the description. Disclaimer, nothing we say is advice. And with that, Gaby, how are you and where are you? What's happening?
Oh, thank you, Ben. Well, I'm wonderful. I feel blessed for this opportunity. Thank you so much. I'm currently living in Argentina, specifically in Buenos Aires. And yeah, I'm helping people right now to relocate in Latin America and to help them to go in a smooth process from the language to help them a little bit better about the tax residency, the relocation with the residency, and also using myself as a proof of evidence because that's the way to show it as an action. So here I am living in a new country, in a new place, and with many beautiful opportunities and also meeting beautiful people like Argentinians.
Absolutely. Easy to fall in love with Argentina. That's what I love about you. There's a whole wide web of fake people out there claiming to do what you do, but you are walking the talk. And I really want to dive in deep today. You mentioned you're in Argentina. People coming to you for help. What trends have you noticed in regards to residencies? Are people looking for Latin America specifically? What have you noticed over, say, the last 12 months?
It has been interesting for me, even as a Latina, because even I'm seeing Colombians or people from Ecuador moving to Argentina. So it's worldwide, the expansion that coming here to Argentina. And the main factors is there's more hope of a new passport or a new strength that allow them to have better benefits. The second is the quality of food, which is the meat, which is something that many people in other countries are not able to obtain, like Colombia or even Ecuador. The security, right? Buenos Aires is even considered one of the safest places in Latin America. And also in the past 12 months, I've met a bunch of people from Russia and Ukraine living here in Buenos Aires, and they start having multiple babies. First of all, to provide a better life for their future, because also it's part of their culture, but also because it's the easiest path citizenship for them, and also with the current situations in the world. And that's one of the many things I've been seeing in all the people I've been meeting here. Latinos, Europeans, Americans, and Asian people even from Nepal. So
Wow.
2 weeks, yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago, met people that even came from Nepal and even explaining like how weak their passport is and how impossible it is even to get to other places. So imagine that even people from Asia are coming to this part of the world or the end of the world to get another opportunity.
Very, very interesting. So you're telling me there's quite a lot of net migration from within Latin America, and you mentioned some of the reasons why. Perhaps run me through our options in terms of a residency. We'll use Argentina as an example because it has a tier 1 passport. What are my options if I want to come to Argentina and let's say I want to obtain a residency so that I can come and go as I please in the future? How would I go about obtaining permanent residency?
That's really simple. Even in their constitution, they have a law or they have an article that they welcome everyone. It doesn't care where you're coming. This is your home or this is your land. So it means that basically, even if you're a student, if you're doing tourism and you want to stay in the long term, you simply need to have a residency or a temporary residency, which is something called in Spanish, residencia precaria. Really simple to do. I even use myself as an example.
Please.
I even do it automatically. It doesn't take more than 1 day because everything is online. And once you make that process, you're going to be able to have your residencia precaria. The residencia precaria is the first step for any person in the world to lead to citizenship, which is in the second year when you renew for your permanent residency in Argentina.
Excellent. Okay. So if I feel that's a good option for me and I want to get my residencia precaria, what requirements do I need to do? Do I need to stay in the country for a certain time? Do I need to have certain qualifications? What's my initial barrier to entry?
The very first is that you enter through the airport. That's the legal requirement. It means the legal stamp. Okay. It's mandatory just to enter through that. Normally it's digital, but they have all of that in their system. The other one is actually that you have a domicilio here. So you can also use your Airbnb. You use also, it's not longer required to have pictures. Before they used to ask them for that. Nowadays they have in the system to take you the picture. And once you have that, just the copy of your passport and just saying where you want to receive your residency or your temporary residency. There are other steps also for people that don't speak English and Spanish, sorry, in this case for you, that needs to show up incomes, the mostly incomes. So it's something that I normally saw that even Russians, Ukraine struggle. It needs to show a passive income that you receive. And with that amount of money that you also show that you're able to stay in the country, you're gonna be able just to stay. So it's something that we can always go deeper with people that wants to stay. So
Okay.
those are the basic requirements.
So your agency helps people that through each of those processes, because sometimes it can be a nightmare working out different paperwork and then dealing with government agencies and all that kind of thing. Let's touch on why it's so important to make sure you go through the correct pathways. What are the most common mistakes that you have seen when people are trying to go through the residency process, perhaps by themselves, without the proper support?
Because people don't understand that Argentina or Latin America is this slowest continent in most cases or in the world. And people cannot comprehend how patient they need to become if they want to go through the administration process in Argentina, which is what Spanish left us when they conquer us, which is the bureaucracy. Burocracia. So that bureaucracy, people don't understand that. And most young nomads that come here and they say, oh, I can do it myself. I had seen cases that it has been denied or they are not able even how to obtain or to reschedule the appointment because they don't understand what was the procedure that they failed. And when they show up on a second appointment, they speak la 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 in all everything in Spanish, and they are not able even to comprehend the language. And when they came to me, they said the only thing I understood was la 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 la. So that's one of the situations. People don't know the bureaucracy it takes here, the how to do it right. And what we give you is even the file. Here, this is what you have. This is the appointment. This is your schedule. Go there, go to this person. That's all. The second problem that I noticed is the language. More Russians and more Ukrainians, when you go to that side, they have separated Latinos or Mercosur on one side and the other one, people that don't speak Spanish. Most of the time, you will see between 300 to 500 people in queue, not Spanish speakers. Can you believe that none of the government agents speak English or any other language?
So if I don't speak Spanish, I'm in trouble.
You are, because actually they are gonna be normally they see your documents, they say this is missing and this is missing. And when that happened in that process, sometimes they say they start speaking even in Russian. I saw that situation, and even the person is starting to even in the language that they were not able to comprehend. You could see even how disrespectful the government agent felt that he said this is enough and deny immediately. So yeah, those are one of the things I noticed that people don't understand. The bureaucracy, how you need to treat the people in front of you and how you need to sometimes play with their ego, or how to go more humble, or more, not to fight, to talk and in their language.
Más suave, un poquito más suave.
Más suave. If they want to do it on their own, that's the best way.
Yeah, that's a nightmare though. That's full of potential problems, and each time you get denied, you're at the back of the queue again, and you're going to lose a lot of time. So I think that's where you really offer a lot of value with your services, is to being upfront, say this is exactly everything that you're going to need, and we will help you through that transition process and application process. How long, on average, I know it's difficult to give an exact figure, but how long do these applications normally take for a standard application?
That's a good question. As you know, right now Argentina is going through different transitions in administration, in policies, in the government, in everything, right? Like 6, 8 months ago, it would have taken to get the permanent residency, which is the DNI, in within 3 months. Right now, it can take 9 months. So what the government is giving you is like a temporary card, like a letter that they send you online, and they tell you this is going to be lasting for 24 months while you receive your DNI. The DNI is received within 6 months. That's the normal time, but it's taking more, not because of how you do it. It's because you don't have the material or enough money to print it faster as it used to be before.
Understood. Understood. Now, while I'm waiting for this to take place, do I have a physical presence requirement? Because that is different in terms of residencies in different countries. Paraguay and Panama have very little physical presence required, if any. What's the situation specifically with Argentina? How long do I physically need to be in the country in order to qualify for my residency?
That's a good question. You qualify for your residency since day one that you have your stamp. Okay, so you get to the airport to Ezeiza, they just stamp your passport. Since day one, you're able to qualify for your temporary residency. They send that letter that you're legal in the country. And with that, you need to get out of the country and in. But you must stay more than 6 months. Okay. If you don't stay in the country for more than 6 months, you're gonna be technically losing for getting the citizenship in the next 24 months.
Okay,
So
so that's key. Make sure you don't break that uninterrupted chain of days until at least 6 months.
exactly. It's something that I always said to people, even to nomads. We have a guy from Bariloche, and he says he's from in Bariloche. I think he's from England. I don't remember very well. Because we received the documents, we give all that in the files to the right people that do that in Argentina, right? And he was saying that he was afraid to leave the country the next year. But we were counting, and it was no, it was more than 9 months. It's okay. As long as you come back, when you're going to be in court, they're going to be saying, oh, you stayed enough time that it was required to obtain the nationality.
Okay, excellent. Key point there. Now, you mentioned digital nomads. There's a myth out there that people, maybe from a high tax country, can just, if they've had enough, they can just leave and go to a low tax country, make money online, and all of a sudden they have no more obligations to their uh, original country, home of origin, let's call it. That can lead to quite a lot of problems. Talk us through how you need to properly lose one tax residency, qualify and obtain another tax residency to make sure that you don't get into trouble with the appropriate authorities.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And thank you so much for bringing this up, because this is what we focus right now in global and what we help also clients right now. So what we help you to understand is that you need to have everything legalized. Okay. Unfortunately, this is really complex for American citizens. This is so complex, what I'm going to be explaining. So I'm warning now that for other nationalities from Canada, from the UK, from Colombia, from Venezuela, they are able to do what I'm going to explain. and it's the flag theory. The flag theory, it was introduced to me more than a year ago. That was done by Geertz, who has more than 15 years of experience. He's also works on this for worldwide, for more like trust funds and all this development. I work more for nomads, okay, that are thinking how to move in the first years leaving their country. So for people in other countries, what we do is that we help them to legalize to set up their tax residency right now in Paraguay. And we ask them to do it right now in 2024 because it's the easiest path currently that we have in the world. Because as everything you know that changed and moves so fast, that's not longer be the same option in the future, okay? So Paraguay is the only tax legal residency that you can stay for 1 or 2 days a year and be a legal tax resident there. So you go there, you spend about just 3-5 days that our team will help you to do all the documents. You don't need to speak the language. You just go there, you give us your fingerprints there, you go to Interpol, and you already are part as a tax citizen, okay? What it means tax citizen in Paraguay, what we do is that you're paying taxes in Paraguay, but in Paraguay, you don't pay taxes on foreign incomes, okay? So this is a strategy. So when you're a high-tech company or you're an individual or contractor that you earn in another currency, in another part that is not Paraguay, you pay zero. And then when you have all that form, you receive those documents in your house, okay, and in wherever you are. We send you that, you give us the power of will, and you become now with those numbers that we give you, the tax legal in Paraguay, and you submit your application form in your country that you are paying zero in that country. So that's the strategy that we do. So I have met people that are 25, 27, they are from Canada, they are just starting in a new job, you know, and their salary base, yearly salary, it was around, telling you about this case that made me feel like, wow, this is something that many young people can do it. This guy from Canada, Ben, he was paying a lot of taxes from his $75,000 per year. So basically, he was like here, he was still living in the basement of his parents. He was not able even to go for a pizza because it was not even that much. He make exactly what we are saying. He even changed his contract in Canada, allowing him to become as a contractor for the company. The company say, you know what? You can go to the world, you can do that from home, and you can just come here every twice or per year, okay? That was the deal. The guy went to Paraguay, and his salary now is what he owns. So it's the first time he has more than 50,000 in his life saved. You see what I mean? So the guy has changed his life just by doing the right thing and just by understanding how he could have done. So now even the company in Canada don't have the obligation to pay more for him because now he's considered as a contractor. So the business is winning, also he is winning, and also we help him to go through that.
Exactly. That is a true success story. You are doing God's work, Gaby, in my opinion. An angel of residencies around the world is how I consider people like yourself. A wonderful, wonderful story. So that gets us to residency, tax structuring, banking options, because here's the next thing. How are we going to work through? So let's say this gentleman, he's probably a little easy. He's Canadian new employer, contractor, subcontractor agreement, pays his Canadian bank. That's one thing. Different countries in Latin America, particularly, have more or perhaps less functional banking systems. Talk me through some of my options in terms of how to get my currency into where I am how to do my daily groceries and bills without getting churned with fees and without having the local regulators or having my currency stuck in a local bank, which in Argentina would make me pretty nervous.
That's a good question. So even me, I am considered even as a contractor in my own business. Okay. If you ask me, okay, you're gonna be in trouble and all that. No, because the idea is that everyone should have a legal plan that they are able to enjoy the process of going to Latin America. In this case, for example, we in my social media, we provide it's like bonus or like entire program that we help you to set up the tax residency in Paraguay plus the LLC. Let me explain how it works. An LLC is a business in the US and tax or a business formation that we give you also the number ID for that business. And you're able to operate as a business and to receive the money as a Canadian, but as a contractor in the US, okay? So when people receive the LLC, you're able to open fintechs or bank accounts in fintechs. Let me explain. There are a bunch of fintechs that go through that regulation. Wise, Relay, Mercury, and so much more. So technically, you are set it up that through a LLC formation or through a international business. And then through that, you're able to open a bank account that I always mention that to foreigners or always to Latinos that are into crypto or into Bitcoin. The safest way to see even your profits or even to use that money that is coming through that LLC is through the Bank of Panama. The Bank of Panama allows you to get those benefits because it's crypto friendly. So you're not paying to then also neither the tax because you're also in Paraguay. So when you have your bank in Panama, which the currency is in US dollar, you have the access because it's one of the best banking systems. Remember that they have been on operation for more than 20 years, 25 years. So it's not something that came out as a bubble. No, it's already more than has the past transactions, and also that Panama also has the best banks that work internationally that has more than 60 years in operations in the country. So when you're in Panama, you're receiving your dollars, you are not paying the taxes because it's already legalized in Paraguay, and you're also settled down in a structure that it's using the strongest fiat or the strongest currency in Latin America.
Perfect. So I can save what is for most people my biggest expense and being some of those tax outlays. And I can also at the same time reduce my cost of living because presumably I'm living in a country with a weaker currency. Sounds like a twin turbo solution to increasing my quality of life, which I really love. So wonderful explanation as to how we get to that point. But here's the key. There's an emotional aspect to this as well. It's not easy necessarily to move from one side of the world to the other side in a new country with different culture, different language. People get to this step sometimes, and I've felt this anxiety as well. They say to themselves, okay, I can do whatever I want to do. I'm set up, but I'm starting again from scratch. I've got to make friends. I've got to do business because I like to do that in my case. I've got to find hobbies, go to the gym. If you're a single person, you want to date and whatever you're into, men or women. The key for me to be able to do that is the language. If I don't explain to me why it's so important, because people think that they can come to Latin America, let's say, and everyone there should speak English. It's really crazy. Here I talk to people and they're like, do they speak English in South America? And I say, do they speak French in China? No, mate. Talk to me why it's so important to be able to have some basic language skills in order to really get the most out of your experience if you were to expatriate.
Two things that I want to mention and I want you to have in mind, and something that I always try to say to people. First of all, we need as humans or as a future expats to differentiate between your needs and your wants. It's not the same what you need in your life and what you truly want. If you are not aligned with that, you're gonna have results that are not gonna be working. Let's say, if I want to go on a new country because it's my need to change my life, this is the reality I don't want to be living, and I want to change my reality. I want to have new friends. I want to be surrounded by abundance because I feel here is scarcity, but I want to feel a new me, a new person. That's one of the things that people in the world change and also that they need to open. Another thing that I want also to say, it's about the cultural disruption. Me as a teacher, me as an entrepreneur or a future mom, I need to understand that if I have around me like surroundings that I want to change, right? And I go to another place, why do I want to make a cultural disruption? It means I want to impose my culture, I want to impose my values and my language. No, you need to adjust to that because your need is based on that. Your need is to change. You want that, right? And that's what I'm saying. So if someone wants to come from abroad, just clarify, write yourself, okay, this is me, this is my new Gaby resolution, this is 2025. I want peace, I want freedom, I want abundance, I want my money can value this amount. But I need to respect other values that in a new culture I go. I need to not to impose my language because there's another. So when you preserve that, you become also another person. And that's something that I always try to mention. You cannot try to change or be judging what's going on in your country when you don't even respect what we already still maintain as normal. I hope it makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. That is, yeah, I absolutely. I really resonate a lot with what you said, and I think it's something that people really need to think about before making the move, because there's a great saying that wherever you go, you take yourself with you. And if you're going to expatriate, and you hit the nail on the head, you really need to become a different person, at least slightly. You need to make your adjustments, because think about it. If you didn't want to change, if everything was perfect and you could just stay the same, well, you wouldn't be considering this process, right? And I think that that's one important point. Another important point is that you're going to miss out on, there are all these things that you don't know. And when you move to a different country, or even when you travel, you learn, and if you assimilate, you're going to improve your experiences, your culturally rich experiences, the variety of experiences. But you're only going to do that, as I said, if you assimilate, and it's basically impossible to assimilate if you don't speak the local language, right?
That's completely, you said it better than I. But yeah, that's what I see. At the end of the day, remember that the education of another language here in Latin America is kind of difficult. Even if we have internet, people consider in the world like internet information free, right?
Mm.
But the problem here is that most of people, when they work, they don't even have, let's say, the right tools to even try to go and learn, right? Because they have other type of situation they need to deal with that never in another country that have better security or have better jobs opportunities they think of. So it's something just to also reflect that, okay, well, I'm going to also to emerging countries, they don't have the same problems. They have other situations to deal with. And I'm already privileged just by visiting, just by going there. And I should be just knowing that if I want to be there, also to leave something about me as a legacy. That's also what I always say to people. If you go to a place, just leave a legacy, like try to build a family, try to build a tribe that you know that you're gonna connecting deeply in that language. It's not even about the learning process of the language, that is also for you and your self-esteem. Because are you really want to unlock that version of you? because that will be also a new hobby, a new habit for you, a new revolution for yourself and for your ancestors. You deserve that, you know? So
Get out there and build a legacy. Be a little careful with the family planning advice, Gabby. Sometimes you may not be ready for a few phone calls saying, "Hey, we're gonna have we're gonna have an extended legacy that you may not you may not have anticipated." So disclaimer there, guys. Enter at your own risk. Cultural consideration. Before we move on to one key thing about the language that really annoys me, what are some of the common mistakes that you see with regards to local culture? And we mentioned like, okay, bureaucracy and understanding that that's going to be different to your expectations, perhaps in your home country. You mentioned adjusting yourself as if you were, I think of like a guest in someone else's house. So I go to a different country, I'm a guest in that country. Where do people go wrong sometimes? Not in the bureaucracy sense, but just on the street. They're interacting with the locals. What are some mistakes that you've seen that perhaps you might advise people to avoid in order to get the fullest experience they can?
in foreigners that come, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. There are many things I've been seeing it, and is they close themselves in bubbles of all other English speakers. That's one of the first things. I saw that in Brazilian groups as well, that they just close themselves in their bubbles, and also English speakers. Okay. It's pretty similar, but people from other romantic languages like French, right? They are not like that. They try to go and try to speak the language. It depends also what I noticed that in a cultural aspect, people try to identify with what tribe they feel more comfortable. And sometimes I see that there are expats that try to get adopted by other tribes, like Brazilians. So they start learning Portuguese from Brazil, and but they're living in Argentina. I know because I'm global. I have those cases. That's okay, but why you're mixing both languages when right now your priority is to learn just one? There are people also that are learning other languages, right? And they don't give the priority. Another second problem that I notice people that make mistakes is they tend to go to just one place and they never see them again. Here, when you go to a place, if you want to be well known, or if you want just to have people that you trust, go to the same coffee shop just for more than 2 weeks. The same coffee, the same place, and the same hour. I guarantee you, that person will have answers about what you're looking then the next day that you're having this, because it's something about I've been living it and I notice always that foreigners always tend to say, but this place, you don't need to find too many places. You need to find quality and spend the time there and build something there, you know?
Absolutely.
So that's one of the things that I always honestly tell them. Um, Always is just don't stay inside of your house. Learn new hobbies, affiliate clubs. If you are into, I don't know, let's say cigars, change it for, for cigar club, don't go to smoke a cigar alone. Here, people have that tendency. I see Argentinians here that you see them with their cigar and you say, oh, that's nice in this place. So you can go and visit it. There's other people with golf. There's other people here just to take long walks with their dogs. There are activities, but go outside, explore the world. Don't get introvert because what's the point to have, many hours on a flight and not to be enjoying that process with other people?
Absolutely. And I think that Latinos, particularly Argentinians, in my experience, are some of the most friendly people in the world. And sometimes, obviously, you got to be careful, but saying yes to opportunity has led me to some of the wildest experiences, which I'll have as memories for my whole life. With regards to the language, here's something that really annoys me. I don't understand it. People will find any excuse not to just hire a tutor. I don't know about you, but I have never met anyone who's achieved any level of proficiency with DuoLingo or any of these other applications. Here it's popular. People, they say they're going to try and learn a language through an application. I have never seen it work. I don't understand
Mhm.
why people do it when you can get one-on-one tutorage at very good prices at your leisure in your office or lounge. Gabby, talk me through what's going on with people avoiding simply hiring a tutor. It's not worth it. Just pay the money and spend the time.
I keep always asking myself, this is one of the tough businesses. You can even ask me education because you know the book Atomic Habits, right?
Mhm.
Something that I notice here as a professional is that people tend to have the oxytocin or the dopamine really high when they start something, and that's what Duolingo does. And this in a period of time, they lose that motivation and they go back to the old habits. And that's why I'm currently right now writing an ebook about those things because it's not even the language. It's about the being brave to change your habits and go to with consistency and going through that. Because in this case, I noticing for so many years, people that says Duolingo, says tutors with iTalking, with people that actually don't know the plan of what your needs are. Me, in my case, I focus in a psychological profile. I really focus, okay, what is you have here? Really, what you have here? You're telling me this, but you're not acting like that. And when people say, I've been learning Spanish for 7 years, I have that situation yesterday, and I published that. It was a published live sales call I have with a student. And he said, you know what? I'm going to buy a accelerator program right now. And the situation, he has been taking lessons for 7 years and taking Duolingo apps, playing here, playing there, traveling. Still, he was struggling. And I told him, you know what's the problem? It's because people has not been able to focus the psychological profile that the language you want to feel or what the language costs you in the deeper level that you want to achieve. So what I notice is that there are many people that they feel capable of just learning a language, but not even transforming the habits because he always had the consistency, but in the process, he always dropped because he never felt understood. And that is a psychological thing that I go through because even as teachers, we also need to be psychologists to help you to understand that it's a consistency and also goes to the background of the way how you learn past experiences of learning. So that's why people tend to drop habits to go into the gym. People tend to just given up in the new opportunity to even think thoughts in other languages or to reconnect with themselves because it's really hard. It's also a deep emotional state of mind that they need to keep practicing. They need to keep practicing. That's why right now I'm promoting that. An accelerator program of 80 hours. They give us just 80 hours and we already see those results with two students that they literally speak the language. And we go through that. What is your deep desire? What is your real need that you need? What is the cost, the end result of that? So when they truly open up and say, I want to get married, at the beginning, they just started to say, no, it's because I want to date. The deep desire, it was to be able to feel loved through a language. It means to a higher self, right? So that was the need versus the want.
Okay, guys, if you want to get married, buy the accelerator program. Accelerating your weddings. No, but I love the way that you aligned. Again, it's about actually changing your identity, and that book Atomic Habits is great. Making sure you work out what your identity or what your deep desire is, so that you align those habits with that, and all of a sudden, it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel like you need motivation. It becomes more of a lifestyle, which I really enjoy. So for me, like doing simple things like finding a podcast in Spanish that I like, finding music that I like. And in Spanish, that's easy, right? There's so much great music of all different styles. And all of a sudden, it's changed my identity in terms of what I listen to and in terms of how I think about things, what I read. In your accelerator program, perhaps let's wrap up with a little bit about that. in general, from let's say a student that has zero Spanish and they come, how long can they expect before they have a reasonable degree of fluency in terms of conversation, which is what I think most people are after, at least in that first stage, getting some wins to say, I can formulate some sentences.
If they give us 90 days, they're going to be able to do that and so much more. Just 90 days of their life. Okay, we have a customer support going to them quickly. Okay, what you do quickly? You didn't do this. Come on, do this, do this, do this. Okay, what happening? Okay, no worries about it. So what we do right now is that we're gonna be behind you because we have the coaches and we have even the customer support and the designers to go through all of that. What is here? That the motivation, feel even the, not even the pressure that we put you, it's just like we are your cheerleaders in every week. So every week, even you have a bad week because you, as a sales guy, you didn't sell. Hey, sell to me what you wanted to sell. Sell to us what you wanted to achieve with that. So we try, it's because that client, was where you would have done better. And they start thinking, well, in Spanish, well, I would have a good, did this, greater than this, greater than this. Well, here you go. So what we do in those 80 hours program is just to go in conversational. And let's speak about this. So we have a different structures. When the student comes from the very first class, the coach, we don't say any longer teachers because the oldest teachers now become coaches. So it's a specialty that they have. And also under my wing that I've been helping them and train them. And they ask certain questions to this student that wants to achieve to that level. And we create like a customized lesson every day. And the customer support goes and speak to him once a week, one-to-one, to say what was happening the last week and what they can improve the next one. So we make follow-ups and mandatory homework. So if you give us that consistency and we help you to change that habit, you're going to be able to speak because you already have the fundamentals to continue on your own.
I see you bringing some of that famous Latina intensity. Maybe some of the boys are second guessing, like maybe I don't want to get married anymore with that intensity. I'm just kidding.
I love being intense. That's my favorite quality, I can say. I'm intense, but to speak about life, about anything, I love being intense. That's a gift.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Intense passion is something I think we're lacking in the Anglosphere. And whether people realize it or not, a lot of people that are moving abroad, they're looking for that passion, that spark. And I think it goes hand in hand with the intensity. So yeah, I love it.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's why I wanted to be remarkable on that because I don't think any other Spanish academy or any other teachers do that because they are feel like afraid because they give lesson in another language and they change subconsciously to be respectful. No, I don't care. I want you to be here with me. Let's be intense with you. We send you a bunch of emails every day. Do you do your homework? Do you do this? And even the teachers say that I don't want to be overwhelming the students. Like, I'm sorry, we must do that to remind them that we're here for him.
I love it. That's next level. What about WhatsApp audio messages?
We have a system that actually one of our favorite teachers from Colombia, she used a record website that any teacher, that any student that needs to pass certain levels or models, they need to record themselves and they send that to us. So that leaves us a lot of ways to be exploring how if they're identifying the sounds as well.
Ooh, wonderful. That's immersion. If ever I've seen it, that's immersion. I really like it. Okay, so for listeners that really like what we said today, they're ready to take at least a discovery step to learn more about maybe residencies, maybe maybe they've tried to learn languages in the past and they haven't really succeeded. Maybe they want a different approach. We're going to leave a link, obviously, in the description, but talk me through if there's one thing you want these people to know, to leave them with today, what would it be?
I will be saying like they need first of all just to understand to change their subconscious because we're living in a different world and all as human beings, we have been told that there's nothing left for us. And I want you to change that mind. I want you to know that there's a lot of abundance in everything you want, in success, in love, in money, in relationships, in everything. And you need just to clarify what is the best path for you and knowing what are your needs and your wants, as we have been speaking about. And just to be honest with yourself, what you want to achieve with that. And remember that you don't need to be in survival mode. It's over now. You are in the best era of the world. Enjoy right now that you can have meat, you can have water, you can have flights, you can have passports, you can have multiple options. So enjoy the best era. It's time to enjoy everything that you have in this world. Don't take too much seriously what are going on in the world. Focus on yourself. Be a better human.
Absolutely great advice. And whilst obviously we only ever get one physical life, I want to put a quote to you that says that the more language, each language you acquire, you're able to live a different life as well. So the more languages you have, the more lives you're able to lead inside the one physical life. Does that ring true for you?
Yes, I have lived already beautiful life thanks to that.
Yeah,
And I will.
I would
Sorry.
agree. Thank you so much, Gaby. Wonderful to speak with you as always. Guys, if you're interested in getting in touch, link will be put in the description and you can discover a little bit more if you want to expand your life or potentially acquire a new life via a new language. Take care, guys. We'll be with you in another episode. Talk soon.